Hey everybody, Dr. Dennis Ciccone from Ciccone Family Chiropractic and Wellness Center. I am here to share an answer to a question that I get quite a bit in the office. And that question is, do I have to continue chiropractic care forever? It's a great question that I hear all the time. The answer is no, you don't have to continue with chiropractic care forever. The question I would ask you though is, do you think that you should? And the way that I usually pose this with my patients is I will ask them, once we get your nervous system working optimally and functioning the way that it's supposed to again, and the way it was designed, how long do you think we should keep it that way? And the answer from the patient is always with a chuckle, and they say, forever. So we know that we should do these things. It's just like eating healthy, going to the gym. So it really starts with mindset and understanding exactly what we're asking when we ask these questions. So the reality is we know that anything that we build into our lives that should have a long-term sustainable benefit should be things that we do forever. I would put chiropractic in this category. I would put taking care of your teeth, working on your marriage, working on your finances, working on your health, what you're eating, exercise, all of these different things. And truthfully, for me, there's so much information out there, and there's so many other things that I could be spending my time, energy, and money on. At this point, I don't even try to incorporate things into my life that I don't plan to do for the long term. I just don't have time to do those things. So, my goal when I look at chiropractic is, how do we get you that you are functioning as optimally as possible? And then how can we see you as little as possible so that we can then maintain that? That should be the goal in all these different aspects of your life as well. How do I get it where it needs to be? And then how could I either train myself to be as efficient as possible so that I don't need to put as much time, energy, and money into this thing anymore, because I know how to do it myself. I know how to maintain it. I know what to do when things go wrong. These are all things that you should be thinking about. When we talk about the nervous system, the other thing is most patients have no idea about this concept when they start care. Most patients, when they think about chiropractic, they're thinking about something or someplace where they can go when they have neck pain, back pain, or headaches. And this is just a horrible model to think about in terms of chiropractic care. And here's why. If you come to see me and your goal is to get rid of your headache, there's two things that are going to happen. Either we're going to adjust you, come up with a plan, and the headache doesn't go away. And then what's going to happen? You stop care. Or your goal is to get rid of the headache. We get it to the place that the headache goes away, and you're going to do what? Stop care. So the idea is, when you understand building this into a long-term model, those are both ineffective ways of thinking about the problem. The way of thinking about it is, the brain controls everything in your body. The nervous system is the primary mechanism that controls everything. So for you to hear me right now, for your heart to beat, for your lungs to breathe, for me to move my finger right now or my foot, all of that is controlled from the brain, sending signals down the spinal cord and then out those nerves. So as a chiropractor, what my job is to find if there is any interference or blocks anywhere in any of those nerve pathways. Once I identify where that stress is, then I can remove that stress so that that nerve starts functioning as well as possible. And again, the way to think about this is at extreme. So if I were to cut my arm off, how likely do you think it would be, if I adjusted you every day, that your arm would heal? It would never heal, because now it's disconnected from the nervous system. So as a chiropractor, I'm not the one that's actually healing your body. I'm just removing the interference from the thing that would be blocking your body from healing itself. Now, things that cause these irritations to the nerves, or what we call subluxations, are things like falls, fights, car accidents, wearing your backpack wrong, different postures. So I want you to think about this again in terms of the long-term plan. So if you come into our office, we do an assessment or we do an x-ray, and we find that there's irritation on these nerves, my job is going to be to find them and then remove them. What do you think happens if those problems have been around for a long time? I go in, I do an adjustment, you get off the table, you feel a lot better. Most of you have experienced this. And then in a short time, maybe later that day, the next day, or within a week, it feels the same again. And it's just frustrating. It's like, am I wasting my time, energy, and money? No, your body was stuck like that for a long time, and it takes repetition now to retrain it to go in the right direction. Now, the good news is on the other side, this training that we are now doing together for your nervous system also remembers these things. So once we get it to the position that it's functioning well, now those visits and that time between those adjustments should last longer and longer and longer. I have had patients that feel better for literally a half hour when they leave my office. That's as long as it lasts, and that's not a very long period of time. Um, but within a short period of time, continuing with that, if they start mapping and writing how long they feel better for, eventually it will be 1 minute or 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And that's what I want you to look at. It should be lasting longer and longer and longer. Now, on the other side, you have to take some responsibility on what you're doing lifestyle wise that puts this out of position, right? Because the adjustment and the movement into the right position is like a deposit, like I always talk about. All the bad things you do are withdrawals. So if I take a professional athlete and then I'm looking at adjusting him, or I'm looking at adjusting somebody that's retired, that doesn't do a lot, doesn't move a lot, isn't very physical, you would think that I would need to adjust the physical athlete less frequently because they're more fit, and the more retired person um, more frequently, right? Because they're not healthy and their body is struggling, or they're not moving as much. But it's actually the opposite. Think of it in terms of like getting an oil change. If I drive my car harder, I need more repair to my car. So that's another way of thinking about it, is if you are very stressed, running your own business, very physically active, the important thing is not to confuse being fit with functioning well. And I see this all the time. I'll see so many healthy athletes or people doing really well fitness wise, but then I look at their spine and their spine's really struggling. So, just a couple things to think about. Come into the office, get your spine assessed. For so many of you that I work with virtually, get to a local chiropractor, get the assessment, do an x ray, get an exam, send me the information. When we do our consults, we can talk through it and just make sure you're on the right track. But again, the goal is long-term chiropractic care is not a necessity. It's a decision that you decide to make because you want to be healthy. And these long-term plans, if you're working with the right doctor, should be getting you to a place where they're seeing you less and less over time so that you're more and more empowered to take care of your spine. So have an awesome day.